So welcome to the B Sound podcast. It is July 30th of 2021. And I just want to say that when I started out today, I've already been doing this podcast for about an hour. Started out, I got like 40 minutes done, and I went to upload it and realized there's no sound. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll just do this live and see how it goes and just kind of try to just go over what I went over. Maybe not so thoroughly though. And, maybe do like a 10-minute podcast. And we'll see how this works. It's not going to be the same quality as normal, but hey, we got something going. I want to make sure that I keep up doing the thing that I said I was going to do, because it's important to me to be congruent and to be open with you and as well as be trustworthy. So if I say I'm going to do it on Friday, I'm going to figure out a way to do it on Friday to the best of my abilities. So here we are, B Sound Podcast, and I'm going to keep it way shorter than the 40 minutes that it was, right? So the first thing I started off with talking about was there's a new Bobobot song coming. And I worked on it for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and I finally got it to a point where I think, hey, I can release this. And it's actually early. The song usually comes out on Bandcamp on the first of the month, every month. And it's the song for July. So it will come out August 1st. But I think I'm done with it. I've sent it off to be listened to by some trusted ears. Got a couple little bits of feedback. And I'm going to take that and just do a quick little fix here and there, upload it, and tomorrow it should be up on Bandcamp. Link below if you want to check that out. It's not there right now, but it will be there once this podcast is done. Now, as far as the song itself, I'm not sure the name of it yet. Like, I started out writing it and I've been busy on it, doing things on it every day, getting the lyrics in there, getting all the little pieces together. And the working title has been Approach the Cave. And if you know what that is, great. That's a cool thing. It's going to help you understand the song just that much more. But you really don't need to know what Approaching the Cave, the Innermost Cave, is to enjoy the song. The way you get access to the song would be to go to Bandcamp and sign up for the Singularity Club. And what that does is it's going to give you access to not only this new song, but every song I've worked on so far this year, as well as every song that I've had ever put up on Bandcamp. So you can just go ahead and sign up and just download away, get everything I've ever done. And yeah, it's the least I could do, because I appreciate the support of you helping me out by signing up, listening to the music. And, that's what we're here for, to share our ideas, our music, our games, whatever we're into. Let's support each other as artists, and I'll give back. I give back the best I can. Some other things I discussed was, because I was discussing this new song, I'd listened to a few new things this week. Just today, a bunch of things dropped. The new Poppy dropped, which is just a new song, but she announced her album. The single for the song is called Flux. And in this song, it's an interesting song. She released a music video for it. She directed the music video. The video itself is, I'm not sure how well it goes with the song, but I'm not even sure what I think of this song quite yet. It's kind of a interesting anomaly of a song for her. It sounds to me like she's trying to mesh her old music, which was pretty heavily pop-based, with her new music, which is kind of metal-based. Except, before when she'd do it, she would just have a metal part and layer a pop part right over that metal. And it would the clash of the two would sound interesting. And unique. But what she's done here, it sounds like to me, is she's taken the two, the pop and the metal, and kind of thrown it into a stew and actually mixed it up this time. So it's a little more cohesive. And it lends itself to a pretty interesting and powerful sound. Now, I wouldn't say it's as original as some of her other stuff, but it's still unique. And the video itself is way unique. She directed it, and it's like takes place in some kind of candy land. It's the best way I can describe it. It's like the land itself is made out of like gumdrops and things like that. And there's all kinds of like psychedelic eyes on these gumdrops and different cartoon creatures flying about and doing different things. And to me, it just seems like Poppy is, at first when she gets to this land, it's peaceful. And as she goes through it, she starts getting attacked more and more. But then eventually along the way, she finds a way to become the attacker and starts taking down the things that were attacking her, only to be attacked again as things go on. And it seems to be showing this like endless cycle of how things work like that. I guess you could say this is probably her, the song's Flux, right? So it's about, well, I can't really say what it's about, but to me, it seems like a state of flux is like being able to maneuver in any way you have to in order to survive. And to me, that seems to be the overall arching theme of the song. So it's a pretty cool tune. I suggest you go check it out after this. And, you know, and after you sign up for the Bobobot thing, of course. The other things I've listened to this week, the new Billie Eilish dropped, and so did the new Prince. And before I get on talking about those things, I just want to say, you know, Dusty from the band ZZ Top passed, and that sucks. But if you get a chance, my buddy DJ Rudin has a channel on YouTube, and he was able to film their last concert. He's at least pieces of it, Sharp Dressed Man being one of them. Actually, Rolling Stone picked up his video and put it on their website. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to see his channel growing and you know, making live music relevant. Because he's had several videos that have done pretty well. That ZZ Top video, and he went to a Fozzy concert, and there was a new song there that Fozzy played, and that blew up because people want to hear the new Fozzy. I assume it's going to be their new single. And then the other one that blew up that he had was Vince Neil playing Iowa, which, as far as I know, Vince canceled his whole tour because this video came out and he just did so poorly that he rethought some things and needed to get in better shape to go on the road. So back to Billie Eilish and Prince. The Prince album, I gave it a good, you know, just once over, a casual listen, and I dug it. It's funky. It's funky Prince. I liked it. I think it's got some good tunes on it, but it does seem a little unfinished, maybe a little less polished than I expect Prince to put on something. But you know, I'm a fan from back in the day. The Prince that I used to listen to was like Little Red Corvette and When Doves Cry, things like that. I really love the 80s Prince stuff. And up into the 90s, you know, Darling Nikki and stuff like that. Those are all good songs. Shakadelica, classic song from Prince. Eventually I might release a tape. One of the earliest recordings I have of myself is me singing Little Red Corvette into a tape recorder. And that would be kind of fun to just put out there and say, hey, here's a Dan B cover of Little Red Corvette. And you hear this little, you know, 3-4-year-old kid singing Little Red Corvette. Yeah, the new album is okay. It's funky. It just seems a little underproduced for the Prince that I know anyway. But who knows? Maybe some of the later albums that I haven't heard yet are produced more in this fashion. But it's my understanding it was recorded in like 2 days. And, you know, he kind of let his people just do their thing and then just shelf the album. Probably just maybe he wanted to produce it more or something. Who knows? But I guess that's always the thing about these, you know, these post-death albums is you don't know what the artist wanted to do unless they specifically said so. So you kind of just release them as is, as a kind of a document of where they were at the time. I also gave Billie Eilish a casual listen today. And I wanted to say something about the new single. I really dug. Maybe I don't really know the song well enough to say, hey, I dig this song. But what I do dig about it was the production. And that might sound weird because the production is not what you think it would be. And this is why I think Billie Eilish is great. Why I think she had some real balls to put this song out, especially as a single, Happier Than Ever. And that's because the song starts out and it's really nice and acoustic and it's kind of got this, I would compare it to some of the music I listen to maybe being Isabel Campbell, like, not maybe not as like Pixie-ish as she is, but that kind of feel where it's like a slow, nice acoustic song. It kind of plods along. And then as it goes along, it starts becoming bigger and bigger until the end, like the last minute and a half or so, I guess, is just this total destructive, nasty sounding song. It sounds like, and maybe I had a bad copy. Maybe the Spotify version was just overdriven or something, but it sounds like a really piss poor recording at a concert where everything is just so overdriven and so nasty sounding that you wouldn't think to put this out as a studio recording. And that, I think, takes balls, right? To put out this entire, to put out this lead single and be like, hey, this is a song I'm putting out to the world that millions of people are going to hear, and have the production sound objectively like ass. I thought it sounded cool, but I can see where a lot of people be like, what is this? Something wrong with my copy? Is this bad? So, I like that kind of balls in it. And maybe it's because, this new Bobobot song, I overdriven the drums a little bit. They're not like as bad as she did in this song, but they're overdriven to a point where it's like, man, that's almost too distorted for drums. But I digress. That will be, something that you'll have to hear for yourself. In my not live podcast, the one that I was supposed to be putting up, I had asked Facebook about what should I do for a podcast topic. And there was a ton of topics they came up with. There was probably 15 topics. And I went through each one and said, this is my little piece on each one. But I think I'm going to save them and maybe use a few in the coming weeks here, because there were some pretty good ones. And so stay tuned for that. I think I'm just going to do a whole show on video games, because there was like maybe 4 or 5 questions specifically about video games. And I know people are interested in what I think about video games because I do have a video game channel that I do with another guy called The Game Beaters. And you can go check that out if you want. We do a lot of Let's Plays and we talk about a lot of retro stuff. But we do some new stuff too. It's all over the place. But there's a lot of questions kind of aimed towards that, and I think it would make a great podcast in its own self. And then some other things were, dealing with like coworkers and things like that. There's some interesting ones, and they were ones that I thought, oh, you know what? I wanted to at least get my thoughts, organized on these things before I went ahead and just made a podcast about them. Because that's what I do now. Like, I'll have like a little list of, hey, I want to at least talk about these 3 bullet points, and then just go off the cuff. And that's where I'm at with that. I think we'll probably wrap things up here now. But stay tuned for this Tuesday. We have Ursula Berger coming up, and the podcast I did with her, she's a writer, and she writes children's books. And it's really cool what she does and what she offers to the world. And you'd find out, it was interesting to find out how writing books and like doing things like music or creating YouTube content can overlap. It's really interesting how that works, where a lot of the creative world actually collides, and a lot of the same lessons you learn seem to be useful for the other person as well. For anybody in the creative realm, whether you're writing books, making video games, making content on YouTube, music, whatever. There's a certain circle of information that overlaps, and you can glean a lot of useful things for yourself just by listening to those people. So I think that one's going to be a good one. Stay tuned for that on Tuesday. And if you haven't yet, please go ahead and like this. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That'd be awesome. Really appreciate that. Comment if you haven't commented. Just say something. I'd love to hear from you. Love to know what topics you want to hear on this podcast. Because that's what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for myself, of course, because I want to be able to speak to people. This is something I'm working on, and I like learning from everybody. And this gives me the opportunity to learn from you guys and learn about the things that you want to learn about, and kind of give back to you in that way, to be able to speak with you, and we learn together. So if you find this useful, if you find this kind of podcast useful, or you find any of the things useful on this channel, please share them. Anything that helps this channel grow, we want to grow together. Let's try to hit, it'd be awesome if we could hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year. That's a great goal, I think. So originally I was going to put the new Bobobot song at the end of this podcast, but I don't know how I'm going to do that now, because I was going to just edit it in. If you want to go to the Bandcamp page and sign up, I'm going to upload the new song tomorrow. And so if you sign up for the Singularity Club, you'll be able to hear the new tune. And like I said, all the old tunes and everything like that. All right, guys. So I'm going to head out. I'm glad this worked. I wasn't sure it was going to, but this is a different setup for me, because my computer, I can't get the microphone to work at all. I don't know what the deal is. So I've got to take things apart and figure it out. So right now we're recording off my phone. It's probably got a weird sound quality. This microphone isn't even hooked up. It just happened to be there in front of where I put my phone. Anyway, guys, take care. Thanks for being here, and be sound.